a Playlyst original.
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast,
where we review the pilot episodes of TV shows to answer your question, should I watch this?
My name is BJ.
And my name is Mitu.
And this week, we're watching Love Overboard on Hulu, Bait on Prime Video, If It's Tuesday, It's Murder on Hulu, and Born to Bowl on HBO.
So stay tuned to the end to find out who BJ's favorite Bond is.
Well, I only know a handful, and by a handful, I mean a couple, but I'll pick between those.
Someone's going to be top 2 and not number 2.
Exactly. In the meantime, how about you tell us what's happening in the Mediterranean Sea?
You're talking about Love Overboard on Hulu, produced by Alex Cooper and hosted by Gabby Wendy. This show follows singles aboard a lavish yacht who are seeking romance, but accessing the yacht's luxuries come with challenges. As they navigate love and betrayal on the high seas, only one pair will emerge victorious with new love and a $100,000 trip around the world.
So I have to say, immediately our host Gabby caught me off guard. I know it's her job, but she encourages people to break up couples.
She is so funny. I think for a show that is this odd and kind of a riff on other existing shows like Love Island, they needed to find a quirky host. And I think that finding someone who's an alum from Bachelor and Bachelorette and then had a resurgence thanks to The Traitors and is no longer attracted to men and very happily married to her wife, I think was like the perfect type of person to bring into this. When Gabby introduced to the contestants that not all of them would be on the upside of the yacht and some would have to be servers, and she could not get it out and started laughing nervously as she shared the information because of people's reactions, that cracked me up.
She has great comedic timing, and I think that works well for such an absurd type of show where we have 4 couples who get to live in luxury on the top side, and then everyone else who's working on the ship and living downside. And then we have eliminations with the title Love Overboard. They're literally standing on planks. And she says she thinks it's safe for them to get plunged into the water.
I loved those stakes. I love the stakes of having to walk the plank and then having to do the physical act of if a bombshell comes in or whatever the term is from this show, or if someone comes from the downside, a shipwrecker, very cute, and messes up your couple, and you realize I'm a little more attracted to this new thing. I think it's very funny that you have to send your original into the water. Like you literally have to send them walking the plank. And then the stakes of just not wanting to be on the downside and cooking and cleaning. I understood Bella's reaction. I get that it's gone viral and that people are making fun of her. For me, there was not a single thing she said or did that did not track. I would have myself jumped from the boat and swam back to land before having to be in that downside.
You would have stopped and said, I can't clean for people not as pretty as me.
Not necessarily that, but if I'm on a dating show, to put myself in the mindset, not as a grown lady.
Hey, you could do it. Age of attraction. Hey.
Wow. You think I've aged out of hot girl shows like this?
No.
I'm like just a couple years older than some of these people. Whatever.
You wouldn't go on this show anyway.
No, and that's what I'm saying. But if you were on this show and you're here to be a hot girl and you just want to be a hot girl and desired by people, and then suddenly people are trying to put you in a maid's outfit, and now I'm feeling isolated and I'm on a boat and I'm not tethered to anything and I'm about to sleep on bunk beds on the base of this boat and there's no windows with randos and I'm cooking and I'm cleaning. I don't even cook and clean my own home. I would lose my mind.
That would suck. That's a huge flip. Because at the beginning, you're on this ship, you see all these attractive people, you're getting champagne, and then you got to change into your work clothes.
You have sunlight, champagne, cuties, fresh cut fruit. Suddenly, you're the one chopping the fruit in a uniform in the basement and scaling fish.
And becoming the mixologist.
Yes. I thought that was very funny. Aside from Bella, there's a couple other standouts to me. One is Leela the Liar. I thought it was very funny. There's a very reality TV show moment where she immediately flips on a promise that she kept in order, frankly, to honor another relationship that she had. And then there was one coupling that I thought was just immediately on thin ice.
Are you talking about Lo and David?
Yes. He kept saying he's not attracted to people who look like her.
But then he also talks to someone who meets his description and is also uncertain.
I don't think she met his description completely.
Oh, he's even lying about that.
I think he's attracted to
Part of her.
That feature, part of her. But I don't think he is I don't think she was tempting to him to leave Lo, the future mother of his children. Which
she wasn't. Yeah.
What he said. He was like, she may not be my type, but she looks like she could raise kids. I said, oh my gosh, stop.
And you gotta be picky, because if you're not in one of the 4 couples, you're not going to survive. So I think we're going to see lots of messy situations like that going forward.
All for not a great prize. These people are definitely competing more to just not be in the basement of this ship, or whatever the term is for ship people.
Which makes sense. You either work on the ship or you get to win a romantic trip around the world worth $100,000.
As long as we split it.
I guess the winning couple decides. I don't know.
Ideal delivery system is Hilton Honors points, Delta credits, whatever, half. And then maybe we go together, maybe we don't.
I have heard on other reality shows where a trip was the prize. Afterwards, they did give the winner the option to have, like, I don't know if it was cash or maybe travel credit worth or equal in value to the promised trip.
Now, that would be great, because it's about $500 to take a domestic flight right now. So to be able to offset that, I'm not talking around the world, but I am talking a practical way to use a lot of money. With that, do you want to watch more episodes of Love Overboard on Hulu?
I think I would watch this again casually. I think this is more fun than the recent Age of Attraction that we watched. Yes. That's a dating show that's on my mind. I think it leaned into the absurdity and the cheesiness. And this concept feels fresh. You either work or you date. How do you feel?
That's true. It was feeling a lot like a lot of different shows, but you're right. The introduction of hard labor as a possible outcome.
What a twist.
Does add a fresh twist. And then Gabby Wendy is a really, really good host. So I'll also watch again casually for as long as Bella is on the show.
Oh, okay. You're just supporting Bella's journey to the top side.
She is so funny on this.
I agree. She was the standout.
All right. So why don't you take us from a yacht to across the pond?
You're talking about Bait on Prime Video. An actor, Shah, played by Riz Ahmed, in London suffers an existential crisis while auditioning for the role of James Bond. So, Mitu, what did you think of our working actor trying to make it?
It felt a lot like Wonder Man, where we open with him auditioning for James Bond and being too in his head about it. And I felt like I wanted to reach through the screen and shake him. And of course, he does a perfect version of the audition right after cameras go down.
But you got to perform on stage. That's what they're paying people for.
That's the thing. If you can't perform in the moment, I don't know. Maybe this isn't the role for you. Not everything gets 7 tries.
It's a little excessive. He's really going for the extra support and help. He even breaks some rules to get a little bit more attention and maybe swing the casting team in his direction, which, hey, James Bond would be a career-defining role. So I get you're going to do whatever you can.
And this is a light spoiler. It is the premise of the show that essentially it gets out that he has this audition. And so now we have these elements of his family's thoughts and feedback on this. I thought it was very funny when his brother was like, isn't James Bond supposed to be Paul? That made me laugh, that very logistical question. His parents seemingly like, finally feeling proud of their artist son. But then the extreme backlash that often happens and is very realistic for a program like this, where there's a beloved character and maybe the actor playing that character, in this instance, a British Pakistani man, is not who you envision. And so everyone is just sort of losing their minds, brains are melting, coming out of their ears, down their hands as they type frantically into a phone on social media about whatever threats over this person. And so we see him experience that. But I thought it just didn't happen soon enough. So I loved seeing him as a struggling actor. I think one thing Wonder Man did a little bit better is I understood more why our lead was so obsessed with film in that first episode. I don't really get why, in this instance, Shaw is so obsessed with film in this show, but I do get that he cares. And we understand that he has been at this for a while. And he really wants to earn money to take care of his family. There's a very sweet moment with his father where he's trying to get care for his father. That said, I needed to get to the meat a little bit sooner.
Yes. And I think you bring up a really good point. We're not shown a lot of his passion or even his career as an actor. We're just told that he's been going at it. We're told that his family are skeptical about where his career is going before they find out about this audition. And I think we could have used more time focusing on what are the consequences of people finding out he's auditioning for this role. And then we can lean in more of, why does he care about acting?
Yeah.
People get James Bond, iconic character that someone might want to play, but also what has led him to this point. And I don't know, I feel like it's a little annoying to say I want more of his backstory, but I do want to know more about Shaw as a actor versus just seeing him trying to get the audition going.
Yes, the show is fun and funny and light, but I think the pacing was a bit slow. And I feel like, to your great point, they could have either dropped us in closer to the backlash moment, so then we get a little bit more action, or bring it back and tell me what's going on. Because you're right. They basically just tell us, this guy's an actor and he really wants to act. And it's like, no, show me. It's a show. Show me.
Did they show you enough to get you to keep watching more episodes of Bait on Prime Video?
Literally in the last 5 minutes, because it was a very cute show. But then the last 5 minutes, when we get into a little bit of this going public and what are some of the reactions to it, and then they very smartly, for this limited series, the British love a limited series, no more than 6 to 8 episodes. That's too much beyond that. But they show maybe like a 40-second preview of what's to come. And between the last few minutes of action and that preview, I'm in. I really do want to know where this goes, so I'll be watching again casually.
I have to say would watch again while cooking. Similar to you, the kind of preview of what's to come on the series is what got me really interested. But I'm a little hesitant because I had to watch an entire pilot episode and then get a preview of what's coming to really see what this show could be about.
Fair.
Okay, how about we go from struggling actors to struggling tourists?
You're talking about If It's Tuesday, It's Murder on Hulu. A group of tourists on a trip to Lisbon find themselves investigating a murder after one of them is killed on the first morning of their trip.
Okay, me too. It's in your description. It's in the title. There was a murder. What did you think of the case they've set up?
We needed to see the murder immediately. We needed a moment. You and I talked about this a little bit before we started recording, where they show us who died. Not who done it. I'm not saying everything, but they needed to have shown us who died, because we don't know who dies until basically the last 10, 15 minutes of this 40-minute pilot. And so you just are watching people interacting with each other. Unlike the last show we reviewed, this felt like a little bit too much backstory. But I think the backstory could have been much more interesting. if we know who died right at the beginning, and then you do the classic flashback on a mystery show, 7 days prior, 5 days prior, or in this case, 1 day prior, and then that allows you to look at every interaction between this person, other people, and you go, oh, is this it? Is this it? Is this when it happens? Is this the turn? Otherwise, it just kind of felt like a quirky tour group, and it was funny, but it just kind of felt like watching quirky people interact with each other for the most part, with a couple suspicious moments here and there.
Yes, we got a lot of backstory, a lot of entertaining, fun scenes between different tourists, different families. But it's not until we see the murder that we as the viewer then have to think back to the first, 30, 40 minutes of the episode and say, what was important? Yes. What was relevant? I wasn't primed to look for suspects, and now I need to remember, what were those two girls doing the night before? What was that kid talking to his parents about? And you don't think about that early enough to appreciate it.
So I think going forward, it'll be a fun watch, especially if they amp it up a bit, because I think there weren't quite enough red herrings for me, or even just meaningful possible clues or people who done it. But it could be interesting going forward now that we know the person that died. But you're right. It asks a lot of our memory in advance. With that said, I did think the Museum of Crime crew was very cute. We're introduced to this tour group. The person who runs the tour group lets them know at the beginning of the episode that they booked it with her husband, now ex-husband. And so they have her instead. She's figuring it out. She's trying to keep it together. She books them at not the hotel they paid for, a much worse hotel.
It happens.
I thought it was a very nice touch to have like creepy personnel at this hotel and have the hotel itself be kind of creepy. And we see a few of the crew already be over the activities. And so they go to this Museum of Crime. And then the group that finds themselves at the Museum of Crime is now, of course, the group that is trying to solve the murder. And I like that they all are part of different cohorts within them, within the tour group. And so it's like one member of this family, a couple solo travelers. So I like that they're all going to bring absolutely different takes.
Yes, our famous five, as one of them has nicknamed them, the group. And even then they start questioning each other. Like, now, why did the five of us come to this side museum instead of the scheduled tour? And I like that they're starting to set up some suspicion in this tour group. And I like the personalities. I think I'm still just hesitant to see, how is this all going to play out? Will this all take place in the hotel? Will they leave now that there's been a murder? I've seen some people compare this to Only Murders in the Building. So I wonder how much of that structure they're going to try and mirror with this show.
Oh, that's a good point. If it's like Only Murders in the Building, it actually has my attention.
Oh.
With that, do you want to watch more of If It's Tuesday, It's Murder on Hulu?
I would watch again while eating lunch.
Okay.
I like the title. Points for that.
I like the beat. Okay.
I like the sleuths, our amateur crime solvers that get assembled in this pilot. And I don't think I can fully invest because I personally watched it Spanish language with subtitles. So that takes a little more mental effort. So that kind of holds me back from, powering through in one weekend. How do you feel?
Okay, for me and fellow Mystery Hive, I plan to watch while cooking. And what I will very likely do is do the Spanish if I can keep the gist of it. If not, just do the English dub. Because I do want to know who done it. I think the crime crew is very cute. I think this is setting up to be a very cozy mystery. I just wish we'd gotten to the action sooner, which is why I'm not saying I would watch again seriously. Because I just don't know yet if it's that serious.
That's reasonable.
All right. Why don't you take us from Lisbon to the bowling alley?
You're talking about Born to Bowl on HBO. This documentary explores the world of professional bowling, following 5 bowlers as they go on the Professional Bowlers Association tour. We're following Kyle Troop, Anthony Simonson, EJ Tackett, Cameron Crowe, and Jason Belmont as they travel from event to event and compete on this PBA tour. So, Mitu, what did you think about this peek into the world of bowling?
One of my favorite videos of all time, they show at the beginning of the first episode of my man going, "Who do you think you are? I am." It is one of my favorite celebration videos in all of sports. And I've just never thought to learn more about bowling. I've just always appreciated watching that video. In this case, I really like an A24 documentary I'm learning because I liked that Neighbors show. It was a little overwhelming, but I liked it. And in this one, I love watching people be freaks about something, meaning I loved those basketball documentaries on Netflix that I think might be going away. Like, I love watching people be really, really excellent at something and try really, really hard at it. And you are just so uniquely someone who really wants to be good at this thing. And I think it's an interesting peek into the world because I didn't recognize that, like, on this tour, we have the people who bowl, but we also have their families. There are fans. There are people that follow them. There's signs. There's a whole culture around this. There are ball boys, like people that help them pick bowling balls. All of that was just like very interesting to me.
This is very interesting, and I think professional bowling is underappreciated. My mom was in a bowling league, not professional, but I guess I grew up in bowling alleys and knew about the PBA and saw parts of the tour when it would air on ESPN growing up. But I don't think enough people realize how much effort people put into the sport. And I didn't even realize how much traveling they have to do. So this was like educational because I think one guy said if you have like 19 bowling balls, you're not going to pay the extra luggage fees to fly around with that.
As soon as he said it, it made perfect sense. Like, of course you're driving from place to place. And these people are not making that much money.
Mm-hmm.
So if you make the big show and you get TV and you get sponsors, great. But if you're on the circuit and kind of just grinding and going from alley to alley on this tour, you're not making that much money in return.
Mm-hmm.
And so we also see how hard these people work. They're doubling up. They're doing bunk beds. They're driving together. They're carpooling. They're sharing resources. If one person has to leave because they drop out of a tournament, they'll move rooms, be with another person. Like, they're just always in transition and always chasing this dream.
And it's all happening in just 4 short months.
Yes. There's actually such a heartbreaking moment where Kyle, who has the afro and is living his dad's legacy a little bit, he falls short in the first episode. And he is like almost saying to himself more than the camera, like he's 2 pins short. And he's like, oh, you can always find 2 pins somewhere.
Yeah.
And it was just like heartbreaking. I felt so badly for him. Conversely, Cameron had a great bowl. For whatever reason, he was just like in a flow state. And so I was excited for him. I also like in a program like this, I don't necessarily have an individual person I'm rooting for. I mean, obviously I'm rooting for everybody Black, which is why I want Cameron to do well. But beyond that, like, there's no one that I'm like, I have to see this guy succeed. I cannot see this guy succeed. So it's just compelling.
Yeah, I like that. We're just seeing everyone's story. Kyle's family and his history was so emotional. Even seeing Cameron new to this sport as the rookie phenom is exciting to see like what his potential could be. And this is just the pilot. And I hope it doesn't change in tone, but it's not like we have a villain amongst these professional bowlers or someone who the documentary team wants us to root against. It's more like, this is everyone's story. If you have a favorite, cool, but we're just watching everyone on this journey.
And it's really entertaining. So it's not necessarily someone is the golden boy, the villain, and I'm using male terms because it's all men here who are bowling. but you do see people's quirks. Like this guy always freaks out at this thing. This person has a short temper with this thing. This person is easygoing with this thing. And so you watch people, even in this like under 30-minute pilot, have some high highs and some low lows and act in those high highs and those low lows. And I always appreciate a very human look at things too, where it's nice when it's cut and dry on a scripted show or even a reality show of like, this is the heel, this is the hero. In this instance, we're going to watch these people trade those roles, I think, throughout the series.
And try and win Player of the Year.
And get on TV.
And $100,000.
That's big money. And not a $100,000 trip.
Yeah, this is a check.
Yeah. ACH deposit.
Hopefully. Next day.
Yeah.
So, Mitu, will you watch more episodes of Born to Bowl on HBO?
Yes, I love the stakes here. If you're a sports documentary person, this is so fun because you're watching people be very passionate, but they're not making like NFL or NBA or F1 money. You're watching people do this for the love of the game, but ultimately they do need to succeed for the TV time, for the money, for the sponsorship opportunities. Some of these people have families. It is good stakes. It's watching people be very excellent at such a specific thing, which I feel like if you're a sports documentary person, that is very fun to do, to watch people be really good at such a niche specific thing.
I think I would watch again casually. I'm a little hesitant. I really enjoyed this pilot episode, but I think they were highlighting a lot of the bowlers' quirks, and I'm worried it could lean into a bit of mocking or picking on some of the people, where I want them to kind of lift up the bowling community and just highlight, hey, this is a fun sport that people are passionate about that you may not have paid much attention to before.
And it's good for you. I mean, shout out to the book Bowling Alone, which if you've ever taken a sociology class, you had to read.
Wow, I have not read that. And I never took a sociology class.
You got to read it. It's about the erosion of social connection through bowling leagues.
Should we join a bowling league?
Yes.
I
really want to know how to bowl better. I'm not.
I don't think they'll teach us.
Yeah, but like as I practice, I do it like once every so often.
Yeah, if you do it regularly, you can get better.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll think about that. What was your question?
Who's your favorite Bond? James Bond.
Daniel Craig.
Really? Okay. He's a very good James Bond.
I mean, I can't name all of the James Bonds, so it's him or Sean Connery, so.
No Pierce Brosnan.
Oop, would not have thought that name, but I have seen his movies.
The one with Halle Berry is lovely.
Well.
You'll have to take my word for it.
I'm sure I've seen it. You know.
Okay. Well, where can people find...
I want you to be the next James Bond.
I would love to be James Bond.
I think you do. Okay. I don't know how you do with like the gun scenes, but
yeah, it would be very unbelievable when I go and just throw them at the villains,
and then the villains just collapse or fall off boats. You know what? Now I do want to see it. Yep.
Okay. Well, now I feel like it's kind of sounding a little like Naked Gun or one of those movies that made fun of the action movies, but that's...
No, I want you to be the real James Bond.
I know, but I think you want to watch it to laugh.
At the bloopers, but not the final cut. I will clap.
Mm-hmm.
I will try and get you an Oscar nomination.
Okay.
Yeah. You're in it.
Well, where can people find more episodes that we're in of the Pilot Podcast?
Our website, thepilotpodcast.com, or go to your favorite podcast platform and you can follow us.
You can also follow us on social media at The Pilot Pod, and you can send thoughts, feelings, show recommendations, because every other week we do a show recommended by you, our wonderful listeners, to askthepilotpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
Bye.